That is something that I feel like after the experience that I have with kitesurfing, like you really need to do this sport for a decent amount of years to really know how to handle certain situations. Like I see a lot of guys like they are maybe already decent kite surfers. They can ride in 30 knots, 35 knots, but they haven't seen shit. I mean, I'm not judging. I'm just saying,
Mm.
like, I've been in the same position because you learn it so fast. And then you go out and maybe in conditions that you can handle if everything goes well. But if something goes sideways, or maybe your equipment is not
Yeah.
like uh, if fully set up, or maybe there's something breaking, you can end up in pretty bad situations. And if you are not an experienced rider, it's very unlikely that you're going to handle it right. So that's
Mm.
something that I feel in water sports is also not talked about enough. Um,
Yeah.
so my maybe your best advice, like how do you think about safety? And then I'm going to share mine.
Yeah, that's a tough one because look, number one, the gear has got a lot better. Over the
Mm-hmm.
years, the gear's got a lot better. You don't see so many broken lines these days.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is improving, and that's a testament to the companies. Um, See, I don't particularly like to ride with a lot of safety gear on me. I try and ride as light as possible. I do a lot of time in Oman. The weather is warm, but I will ride with nothing. But I see guys riding with helmets and impact vests and all this stuff, and I kind of think it's too much. But that's my
Mm-hmm.
personal opinion. Maybe I'm risking it there. I'm pushing hard. I do have an impact vest that I'll ride on some bigger days, but look, I kind of think that the people who ride with all the safety gear, that's who they are as a person. Excuse me. They are non-risk takers, and they don't want to uh, be potentially taking risks. The people who push it, the people who take risks, I think it's just their nature. Whether they've got safety gear or not, they're going to push it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are riders like Tom Bridge. He rides with a helmet. He's been riding with a helmet all his life, and he rides with a helmet today. Does he need the helmet? I don't know. Maybe it's just the way he feels comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to safety, I think that the people who are going to go out and ride in a balneario in on those crazy days, you can't stop them no matter what. They're going to go out anyway, right? That's just the nature. You're not going to get 60-year-old German guys wearing a helmet and a board leash, an impact vest, a safety whistle, a knife, everything. He's not going to
Mm-hmm.
go to balneario. He's
Mm-hmm.
not going to go out there. He's just going to look at that and think, no way. So when it comes to safety, I think safety is a direct reflection of the rider's personal mentality and you know and skill. Not so much skill level, but just the way they are as a person.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Interesting. So for me, safety is about experience and also about. Do you know Alex Arnold, the free climber?
Sure. Yeah.
So I mean, he has no safety net. So if someone doesn't know him, check this guy out. Alex Arnold is his name. He's a free climber. He has multiple records, and but what he does is he thinks situations through. So
Yeah.
before he goes on the climb, he thinks, okay, what could happen? I could have a injury. I could, like I could lose a grip or something like that. So what do I do then? And that's how I handle safety. I'm also not the kind of guy who wears a lot of safety items, but I really like to, especially if I'm going to a new sport, like just see like where's the current going, what could potentially happen, and also like from your rider experience, I can, even if I can handle the conditions quite well, could I also handle the conditions if I have to swim back, like because when you're in
Mm.
decent surf, let's say you are in head high surf, well, as long as you're on your kite and your kiteboard, yeah, head high surf is not an issue. But when you have to swim back because you have to get rid of your kite, woo, head high
Problem.
surf can really be serious, And that's
Yeah.
that's the things that I'm thinking about, and I catch myself
Mm.
sometimes seeing people on the beach, and I'm like, dude, this is not your day. You're barely
Yeah. Yeah.
setting up your kite right. You should
Yeah,
really
I've
not
said
go
that to
out.
people. I've said that to people. I tell you a story about a girl. She said to me, "I'm going. What shall I go to a Sealet? It's a place in Oman. Rocky, super windy, 35, 30 knots, waves." I said, you're not ready for it. And she was insulted by that. She's been riding for 8 years. I said, you're
Mm.
not ready for these conditions. And she thought I was insulting who she was. But she
Yeah.
went down there. She got into a tangle. She tangled up like 6 kites in one day. All these riders spent the whole day undoing their lines, and everybody hated her. And she came back. She said, it was the worst time of my life." Going
Hmm.
back to Alex Honnold, by the way, the free solo he did of El Capitan and stuff like that, he
Hmm.
climbed that for a whole year with ropes, looking at
Yeah.
everything. I mean, even though what he's doing is at face value unbelievable, the
Hmm.
the planning and meticulous time he put into that is way beyond what we would do. Okay, we go to the beach, talk to some guys. Hey, tell me about the currents here. Okay, and the guy said, look, if you go out, you can get out on their beach down there. We spend 10 minutes on the water. He did that. He climbed that route over and over and over and over and over and over and over a whole year. Went through every single spot. So the day of when he did the free solo, it was easy for him.
Yeah. Yeah. And you could also consider all this training that he put in as dedicated experience. He has this sport totally figured out. El Capitan, this famous climbing route, he did it, I don't know, thousands or probably a couple of hundreds attempts. So he really knows every grip. And that's something that we don't know. You're totally right. And also, um, that's something that we don't know about wingfoiling. I've been kitesurfing so long. I know how to handle situations if I lose my board, if I lose my kite, if I have a line tangle. I mean, I don't know it all for sure. I'm sure there are situations that would just be beyond my capacity, but I feel comfortable. But with wingfoiling, I just found out the other day there are some situations that I've never experienced before,
Mm,
and that's true now for all the wingfoilers probably, because nobody has really like a backlog of 5 years wingfoiling. I mean, it had only been around for a season,
yeah.
like officially it's 2 seasons, but to be honest, like nobody that I know personally has been riding like 2 full seasons. um, yeah, maybe one or two guys on the podcast. So that's something that wingfoiling has to figure out, and wingfoilers have to figure out, like how do you handle the self rescue and stuff like that.
Get down.